Now to solve this equation, we'll go ahead and get that x to the 2/3 term by itself. So we'll add 8 to both sides. So that's x to the 2/3. Negative 4 plus 8 is positive 4. So now in order to get x by itself, we want to raise both sides to a power. And if I do x to the 2/3 to another power, I'd end up multiplying the exponents. Eventually I want my power on the x to be 1. So x to the first power is just x. So we need to figure out what we can multiply 2/3 by to get us 1. And that would just be the reciprocal, so 3 over 2. It's going to raise both sides to the 3 over 2 power. 2/3 times 3 over 2 would just be 1. So we just get x to the first power, or just x on the left side. And on the right we have 4 to the 3 over 2. But we got to be a little extra careful on this one and recognize what that exponent is. That 3 over 2 power is telling us to cube both sides, and also, because of that 2 on the bottom, take the square root of both sides. Well, anytime we take the square root of both sides, we have to use plus or minus. We actually are going to end up with two solutions here. So I end up with plus or minus 4 to the 3 over 2 power. Again, because of that denominator of 2, means that we're taking the square root of both sides, and anytime we do that, we get this plus or minus. So to evaluate 4 to the 3 over 2 power, we can go back to the radical form. So again, that's the square root of 4 to the third power. Now that power can either be applied inside there. I could do 4 to the third, or I can do the square root first and then take the power. So in this case, that's going to be the easier option. The square root of 4 is 2, and 2 to the third is 8. So we end up with plus or minus 8. So again, we actually have two solutions here. X equals 8, x equals negative 8. Now just to verify that those would both actually work, you can take each of them and plug it back into the original equation. So I'll go ahead and check those here. So if I plugged an 8 in for x, I have 8 to the 2/3 minus 8, and we're hoping to get negative 4. 8 to the 2/3, so again with that fraction exponent, you can write that as a radical. That 3 in the denominator of the fraction is indicating that it's a cube root, so this is a cube root of 8. And that 2 is a power, so it's squared. And the cube root of 8 is 2, and 2 squared would be 4. And 4 minus 8 is in fact negative 4, so this gives us a true statement. Now we go ahead and plug a negative 8 in for x. Again, we'll start by writing that as a radical, so that's a cube root of negative 8 squared. Now we're checking to see if this one works as well. So a cube root of negative 8 is negative 2. But when we square that, we're going to get positive 4. And that's the reason for having to do that plus or minus whenever we take the square root of both sides, because we can square, in this case, either a positive 2 or a negative 2 and get the same answer. And so we do end up with another true statement here. Negative 4 equals negative 4. So both of those solutions work in the original equation.